Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade. Hello.
Welcome to my Facebook live broadcast show. Thank you for hooking up with me. This year has been so wonderful. We started on a high note. Thank you for hooking up with us. And then I want to also thank our viewers, followers for commenting, for sharing our content, telling us how timely our content is. We are glad that you are part of this live broadcast show. And then I want us to just take a quick one this morning. I was not able to finish up last week, Monday, but we're going to continue today. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches to grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. And so please go on to all our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook and YouTube, especially all our YouTube subscribers. Please turn on the notification bell. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe to us. I'm a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the US, and I'm also your host to the weekly Facebook live broadcast show on Monday, 7 a.m. Nigerian time, GMT +1. So thank you, and I'm going to go straight into what we have today. So we also do consultations, we do trainings, we do revitalizations, we help churches with strategic blueprints. You might want to just hook up with us to get to know how to help you better. Okay, my book. If you have not gotten my book, please feel free to get my book on church retention, pathway to growth. Church retention, pathway to growth. And in that book, in page 138, I did a survey of about 600 pastors. And so I want to just let us know the state of the Nigerian church, and then I'll go to about 8 church trends to what you expect in 2022. So you can see that most people, almost 70% of the people that filled my survey in the middle of the pandemic did not have a website. And so I will want us to look at your website must be engaging, your website must be functional, your website must be able to lead people from the online world to a physical place where you're going to get the warmth, the fellowship, and the impact that is needed to help people grow to be mature disciples. Okay, I would go on very fast right now. Churches who are using mobile apps, most churches are not using mobile. About 70% of the churches or the church leaders who fill the surveys were not using mobile apps. So if you are into mobile apps, reach out to me. Let us see how we can help some of these churches increase their membership and engagement, because the virus is going viral and I think is mutating, and so we might need to rely on technology to be able to do certain things in the church. So we have just only about 30% who are actually having some form of mobile apps to engage their members when there was lockdown or not. Okay, leaders who were active in social media handle engagement with their church members. We had some leaders who were not on social media at all to really see how they can engage their members, okay, their church members, their church workers. And we have about 20% of them who are not on social media handles. But then this is a good one that some large chunk, over 80% of them, are actually on the social media space to engage their church. Now, having online giving, it's so shocking that we have 73.6% of those who filled our survey do not have a mobile online giving. And during the pandemic, of course, I helped some churches to be able to go online. And one of them was so happy that he was able to get some offerings from in currencies that are not part of his own country. And so you see, online giving platform gives you a wider range of how people can give you income. Okay, give you income. So for me, make sure that you have an online giving platform where people can give you, at least in the 4 major currencies of the world, in dollars, in yen, in pounds, in all those 4 major currencies in the world, to make sure that it is easier for people to give to your church, because we need money to be able to express out the gospel in its full expressions in all look and clean of the world. Okay, then we're going to go into some of the concerns and findings in churches. The areas of strength was, we had quite some good number of churches whose attendance was still very good in terms of music, worship. In fact, most of the churches that have done a church health assessment on, I think 9 out of 10 are very good in terms of their worship, because you want your church to look good so that people can come in through your front door. Okay, so most churches usually have a very, very wide front door, but then the problem also is to be able to balance the attention you are putting on the front door as well on the back door. If you go on my past videos, you will see quite a lot of good information that will help you. And so we had also preaching and teaching as one of the strengths. Okay, that you're able to go into some solid teaching and solid preaching of the word, and that has been one of the areas of strength some of these church leaders mentioned. Teamwork, unity, and family values also, love, care, fellowship, passion, commitment, and dedication. I know the coronavirus is ravaging, is hitting us hard, but you could see that there are some set of people who are also still dedicated and committed and passionate. You see, one of the things I would say here is it's easier to get people to listen to the gospel. That gospel is the good news when the bad news is actually prevalent. Also, there's need for training, because you can't demand from your workers what you have not put inside of them. Then the issue of evangelism, discipleship, prophecy, prayer, and healing, and then administration. Those are areas of strength. And then areas that has to do some challenges. We had some commitment of volunteers. Okay, because of the pandemic, some workers who have laid back, so there's a low spirituality and commitment of volunteers to the work. And so as a leader, as you go into 2022, you need to find ways to recruit volunteers. You need to find ways to get them back, to plug them back into the church. Low manpower and leader development. The fact that you are not meeting in church, you can have online trainings. You can have online leadership capacity development. Okay, welfare challenges became a real challenge, because people lost their jobs. People are not able to go out to make a living, especially those who are on the street trying to make a living from selling and buying and things like that. Building and facility challenges, because people are not coming to the building. There's a depreciation or dilapidation of the building that is not frequently used as it should. Low finance and resources also was another challenge. Weak assimilation, follow-up, and retention issues. Make sure you get my book on church retention, pathway to growth, to be able to know how to get your assimilation uptight, discipline, and governance structure. In fact, that's one of the weak points in Nigeria, where you have most leaders who are not even submissive, or who are not even trying to take some church governance that will help the church to flourish. Okay, most of the limitation to church growth is actually majorly on the leader of the church. Okay, low church attendance was also one of the areas of challenges. Low small group participation, weak in evangelism and discipleship, division and disloyalty. To see a lot of associates who were also disloyal, they are not actually getting to be faithful to the instructions of the house. Okay, greed and insecurity, also illiteracy, poverty, tribalism, cultural barriers. and conflict and misunderstanding, lack of good administrative structure. I'm just going to run through it. Lack of good administrative structure, then decreasing online presence, increasing divorce rate and mental issues, marital issues, unhealthy politics and breakaways, poor people skills, inadequate training and mentoring. So, but then as a church consultant, we have a way where we can help you to move from where you are and make sure that you are healthy, because my philosophy is that once the church is healthy, then you can begin to have some full expression, and church growth is just one of those things that the church can be healthy. So now we went into the fishbone diagram exercise to check which areas of the church. Of course, the top part of the fishbone diagram has to do with worship, fellowship, discipleship, evangelism, ministry, and prayer. And we asked all the leaders which area were your strengths, which area were your weaknesses, and you could see that evangelism was the worst, followed by discipleship, and followed by fellowship. Of course, fellowship was also there because of the lockdown, and of course because of the challenges, economic challenges, and all the societal challenges that we have in our world today. So we need to be able to focus on evangelism, discipleship, and fellowship. Small groups, okay, so that fellowship also can be top tight. Those three areas were the key areas for attention. And then one of the things that was actually good has to do with worship and prayer. A lot of churches in Nigeria went into prayers every morning and things like that. So those were some of the strengths that we need to also celebrate about. Okay, now the bottom side of the fishbone diagram has to do with the organizational health. Organizational health, where the strongest side has to do with leaders, the structure, and strategy, and the weak point has to do with assimilation. Assimilation was the weak point, and followed by resources, because a lot of churches were strained in terms of their finances, their resources, their assets and liabilities. And then we have also outreach also, which was the weak point because of the finances to be able to power the resources to do outreach in the community. So those are just the top side and the bottom side of the fishbone diagram that helped. So what is the issue in your local church that must be addressed in order for the church to move forward? That was one question that was asked, and you see one of the things that these leaders mentioned was discipleship, assimilation, retention, evangelism, finance, resources, church governance structure, leaders, church growth, strategy, training development, and administration. Okay, then we also want to move very fast in terms of these findings from the survey. Churches who were live streaming their services during the lockdown, you could see that a lot of churches actually didn't have live streaming services, which were because of the need and the equipment for setting up of those things. And about over 55% of them were not live streaming their services, but then we could see how some were able to take up their phones to have some form of live streaming services going on in the church. And so post-COVID-19 outlook, we're going to really look at church growth, expansion, and multiplication. There's going to be uncertainty, more uncertainty as we run our church services. Increase in numerical and spiritual growth is one of the outlook we need to look out for. Then we need to also have a dynamic and stronger and healthy church outlook. The church needs to have an outlook that makes the community to believe in itself. Okay, yesterday I was in a meeting where the pastor actually apologized on the shortcomings and the weaknesses and the mistakes of pastors in Nigeria. Because if you go on the streets, you will get some set of people who are actually not happy with the way some pastors have handled some things in the past, maybe by hurt and offenses and things like that. So we have to be more vibrant and effective in ministry, improve online services, management and digital church outlook, then proper reorganization and restructuring of the church. I've seen a lot of set men, general overseers who are so gifted, but they just need to be able to have some proper reorganization or proper structure so that the church can actually have some form of full expression. Then more evangelistic and commitment to service. Then we're going to go into the frequency of church training. You can see that most of the churches need to make sure that they have a lot of, every month, at least every month or quarter, you should have a way of having some church trainings to be able to cover the gaps of what is going on in your church. Then the use of non-church consultants, which I want to discourage. Don't use business consultants to advise you on church, because the way a business is set up is different from church. In the business, you have to pay staff. In the church, you run majorly on volunteers, even when you eventually want to pay staff. So you can see that we have a lot of people who are affirmative by using non-church consultant, but I want to just admonish here that try to get a church consultant, try to get somebody who is experienced in handling church affairs, or is specialized in church affairs. Most of our fathers who are really big today, you could see that they went to those who have been experienced, or Young Cho, Kenneth Hagin, to Kenneth Copeland, Crefodola, to go there to learn from them, because they've gone through that journey, and then they're able to replicate some of those things here in the country. Okay, internet, help me out. Then the issue of budget for church consultants. Most churches in Nigeria do not have, almost 90% do not have budget for church consult. And the thing is this: what happens when a church consultant comes here? He's going to be very professional about his objectivity. Okay, he's not part of your politics. He's going to tell you what you need to hear. He's going to tell you what you really need to hear to be able to move your church forward from where it is. Okay. And then the use of church consultants, okay? The use of church consultant also is so high with negativity, okay? No, about 78% of, almost 79% of the leaders who filled the survey said no, they have not used the services of a church consultant. Today is going to be a bit lengthy, but I think let me just wrap up with all these things. Key decision criteria in choosing a church consultant. You can see that experience was one of the way high one. About 60% said I'm going to employ a church consultant with experience. Then of course it went with recommendations. For someone like me personally, what has made me to stay in business is referrals, recommendations, okay, and then of course testimonials, and then of course the cost. So those are just the things that made key decision criteria in choosing a church consultant. Carried out community analysis. Most churches in Nigeria do not have a form of, because we are so poor in data in Nigeria, you could see that almost 70% of the people that fill the survey never did community analysis. And I can tell you for free that some churches are just doing trial by error. Even when they say they are led by the Spirit, they're just trying to do trial by error. And sometimes most of them get to be depleted in terms of momentum, because you need to be factual. You need to be very scientific sometimes and not negate the leading of the Holy Spirit. Okay, that's why God gave you the Holy Spirit, and also gave you the brains to be able to think and take decisions in combining all those things. Church declining than the growth rate of the community. One of the things we found out that most churches are actually declining in communities that are actually growing. But one of the things I would say here is that the fact that you planted your church in a place that is having an increased growth rate in the community does not mean your church is going to grow. Okay, so but then we have more churches who are actually declining, but they are well located in the communities that are actually having a increase in growth rate. So you see, the fact that your church is growing, if it's not growing more than the growth rate of the community, I think you need to go back to the drawing board to see how something can be done. So you can see that while a number of them are, about 40% of them says that the church is not growing, is declining as compared to the growth rate of the community. Then comprehensive health check. In the last 2-3 years, we are asking them which church among them has gone through a comprehensive health check. And you see that almost about 70% also says that they've not done a kind of comprehensive check. But I want to tell you that, please, if your church have not done a really comprehensive health check, I will want you to consider having such health check done immediately. Then interest in church revitalization or health assessment after the pandemic, you could see that over 90% of them are saying that they are ready to come into some form of church revitalization. So there will be need. If you want us to help you in training, you want to have certification in church revitalization, reach out to me. And want to also do some church health assessment for you, reach out, and then we're going to help you out in nurture. So what are the areas of focus? Church consultation, revitalization in terms of evangelism, discipleship and retention, training and leadership development, website, mobile app, online engagement, eChurch and social media presence, community analysis. I'm trying to see how Church Answer to help us to be able to have some form of know your community report, because it's going to help our church leaders make correct decisions, spend their money judiciously to outreach efforts and things like that. Church branding and promotion, church finance and resource management, church administration and strategic sessions. Okay. Then what are the things to look out for, the trends to look out for? I'm going to wrap this up in another 5 minutes quickly. One has to do with worsening infrequency of church attendance and increased hesitation of many church members to attend weekly worship service. Now we had the Delta variant. We are having Omicron right now. It's possible that the normal we are really yearning for may not come. And so get my book. I was able to deal with the infrequency of church attendance and how you're going to be able to track them, how you're going to address them. You're going to have that up your sleeves to be able to see that the people who will be coming frequently to church service are going to reduce because of the health challenges, the health protocols also in the world today. Number two, the rise and emphasis of micro churches. Okay, smaller churches or self-fellowship, neighborhood churches or community churches. And this is going to be a high demand of some small specialized community analysis, so that you'll be able to deal with the need of your community as it arises. Number three, churches will major on what is major. Because of the need of urgency, there is that urgency for you to put on the table what is major. Unlike before, where the churches are actually majoring on what is minor or minoring on what is major, there will be more emphasis now on evangelism. There will be more emphasis now on discipleship. Go back to the basics in terms of the two greats. Okay, love your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, and then we will see how evangelism and discipleship will be the major talk of what is going on in our churches. Then number four, denominational structures will move from network. Okay, instead of a downward approach, we're going to find a way that this denominational structures will be more functional. Okay, whereby there's a two-way kind of networking in that vis-a-vis. Okay, more local churches will merge and collaborate in order to maximize impact. You have a district, you have a community, you can begin to collaborate together to see how you're going to make some maximum impact in the community. Okay, that's what Jesus Christ said in John, that make them one as we are one. Okay, Jesus Christ actually was concerned that the church will not be able to make the needed impact in the end time movement if they are not together, if they are not united, if they are not aligned together. And if Christ is the head of the church, we must find ways by which the whole local churches in certain areas, to make the needed maximum impact in the community, they have to unite together. Number six, shortage and decrease of pastors by 20% or more. I can say in Church Answer Central, there's a pastoral shortage because the churches are looking for more pastors, and then you have lesser candidates going to seminary. Okay, even when we have people going to Bible schools and seminaries, we have less of them coming out, and then we have more of them even going to bivocational or convocational, because they have to feed their family and they have to take care of the church. And most churches are actually financially strained to be able to take care of a pastor on full time. And so there's that kind of shortage and decrease in pastoral involvement. And then we need to see that the title pastor has really been damaged or has really been affected negatively, so that it's not something that an ordinary believer wants to really aspire to. But we need to get the glory back days. But this is something we need to deal with in 2022. Then number seven, Christian education will begin to evolve in different ways, in different models, in terms of digital models, in terms of online teaching, Zoom meetings, hands-on training, and things like that. Then general church giving will also decline because of the economic hit the COVID has made on our world today. Then we also need to look at the mission intelligence report. If you don't have this report, I think I posted that on my Facebook page. Please get it. So rich. This is second edition from the mission stats, and it's so rich in terms of it. Yes, you have so much of what was said about Nigeria, but then there are some I love what they did to be able to make it a global input of what is going on. So one of it, the last two or three pages of that report, it says that the church has roughly 3,000 times the financial resource and 9,000 times the manpower needed to finish the Great Commission, to go into the world and preach the gospel. So, and the end has not come because the gospel has not been preached. And we have all it takes. It's just for us to be willing and obedient. Be willing and obedient. And the thing is, if every evangelical gave 10% of their income to missions, we could easily support 2 million new missionaries in the world globally today. So the church is well endowed. The church is well equipped. The church is also given all it takes. We just need to make sure that we are not disappointing the God that has given us all these blessings. That every evangelical Christian could provide all the funds needed to plant a church in each of the 6,741 unreached people tribes with only about 0.03% of their income. You can see what we need to get the job done is available. It's just for us to be able to decide. And the decision I'm talking about has to be with the willingness and the obedience to be able to do the work. Okay, I'm going to continue next week, Monday, on the solid church foundation for your best year ever. I've just gone through some church trends, and I know that you're going to get some good. If you have any question, please feel free to get across to me. This video has been very useful to you. You have any church related question or inquiries, I really respond to all the social media comments and inquiries on all my social media. So perhaps you have any question, you want to get my book. Most of these things I said today, the survey is in my book. Please, this video has been helpful to you. Give us a thumbs up, share us to your community, drop us a comment. You have learned from me. I want to learn from you. How do you feel about some of these findings? Drop a comment on the comment section what you feel about some of the things we have shared. And also, we do consultations for churches, we do training, we do strategic planning, we help churches in revitalization. Reach out to us, we can help your church move from where it is. Get to our social media handles, and then make sure that you are able to reach out to us with, in fact, this January, February, there are quite a lot of trainings I'm doing. Reach out to us so that we can also get your church booked for training, so that you can be able to have the best year ever in terms of what this year has to bring for you. Till I come your way next week, Monday, with the continuation of Monday Morning Matters, I say bye-bye and God bless you.